again. Welcome. I'm Eric Miskell on the show floor at Electronica 2024 in Munich. I have Victor with ECIA, the Electronics Component Industry Association, with me today. And ECIA, of course, manages TrustedParts. Victor, why don't you start by give a brief overview of ECIA and then roll into TrustedParts?
Sure, absolutely. So ECIA is a nonprofit trade association, primarily focused on the Americas, but we've got a lot of global members, so a lot of the issues we address are global for the channel. Our primary mission is really to support the authorized channel, to make the channel more efficient, and really to drive customers to use the authorized channel as much as possible to avoid counterfeit problems and all kinds of other things related to going outside the authorized channel, right? So that's our primary focus, and TrustedParts kind of was born out of that mission, and that we really wanted to provide a platform for people purchasing and sourcing electronic components. We wanted to create a platform that allowed people to do that within an environment that was strictly authorized. So that's really our claim to fame there. Yeah. So it's a service to the industry, really, on behalf of the authorized channel.
And explain how that works. So companies, EMS companies, as example, a lot of our audience can go to TrustedParts and they can search to a component.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can go on. We basically aggregate all our authorized distributors' information onto the platform. You can do searches by individual part numbers. What actually most of the EMS folks do, they actually search by bill of materials, right? Because they have shortage lists and so on and so forth. We actually have two versions of our BOM tool that allows you to go up to 1,000 part numbers at a time, our extended BOM tool, which is very popular within the EMS community. If you've got a whole list of shortages, that's an easy way to do. And basically, you know, downloading the bill of materials, you basically get to see the pricing breakdowns and all that by distributor. You can filter it, you know, all kinds of different ways. But we also offer things like supply chain risk, right? So is this part available? Is it readily available? How many people are stocking it? We kind of take all that information and try to you know, give some sort of risk analysis for the user for that. And then you know, we also have stock alerts within that. So in other words, hey, you've got a bill of materials, there's maybe a couple of part numbers or all of the part numbers you're really concerned about. Is the pricing going up or down, right? And you can set a customized alert that says, hey, if the pricing goes up 10%, I want to know about it. We send you an email automatically. Or if the supply chain risk status changes, we send you an email for that. So that's really a great way of managing your bill of materials in one place. You can save your bill of materials. You can share it from the platform with other users. Yep. So if you've got another buyer sitting next to you and you want to, you know, share data, you can do that. And it's a really good tool. So yeah.
What about the other side of it? You get the alerts. What about like the obsolescence and expiration dates?
Right. So we do have the design risk with the life cycle information as well, right? And so again, that's another alert you can set up, or you can actually see when you download your BOM. By the way, you can download it off our platform and put it into Excel and filter it and do whatever you want with that as well. So we try to make it really user friendly. But we have pricing trends on there as well as history, right, and stock trends. And then obviously the supply chain risk, like I just mentioned, right, the fact that, you know, these parts are available or they're not. And it's really based on the aggregated data that we get from the various distributors. So we really have a holistic view of the channel, right? So it's not one little snippet here or there, but we look at the whole thing and give the user some sort of, you know, risk analysis on that.
Yeah. Ask about obsolescence, because there's a lot of marketing around that. Even in the men's room above the urinals, I've noticed they're saying, you know, telling you about obsolescence. It's like, you can't get away from it here.
No, I know. Well, at my age, I'm starting to worry about obsolescence too. So, so yeah, I get it. But but I mean, the reality is we actually have, and it's a great point though about obsolescence, right? A lot of people, you know, go to outside of the authorized channel for obsolete product because there's this misconception that the authorized channel doesn't deal with obsolete parts or parts that aren't what we call the A runners or whatever. And the reality is we actually have a whole host of distributors that focus specifically on that part of the life cycle, right? And so fully authorized, fully backed up by the manufacturers, right? They get their product directly from the manufacturer, and it's a safe place to go. And we try to get that message out as well, because that's the number one thing I hear oftentimes is, wow, authorized channel doesn't carry stuff that's 10 years old, and that's not really true.
Yeah, because your membership within ECIA is quite large, and
Right.
like you said, globally. So how
Yeah.
many size that members, and it's
So-
every region is represented.
Right. Yeah. So from a distribution perspective, we've got all the big global players, right, and they really fund the site. Again, this Trusted Parts specifically is funded by the distributors themselves.
Okay.
Right. And so because again, they're the ones that benefit obviously from it as well, right? I mean,
Right.
they get sales from it, but within that, so we've got all the global players, and we've got a bunch of regional distributors. We've got about 125 or so manufacturers. So most of the big manufacturers are members of the association. And then we actually, which is probably more pertinent in the Americas, we also have the independent sales rep community part of. So what we really tried to do is say, hey, we've got the authorized channel, we've got the three key players in the authorized channel, and when we have an inefficiency, we've got the people around the table to be able to solve problems like that. So, we have a global industry practices committee within our organization that I think latest count is something like 200 different SMEs on a variety of different topics, ranging from cybersecurity to packaging to environmental compliance, which is a big deal these days, right? We bring subject matter experts together to really talk about the issues that the industry as a whole is facing, and try to create standardization as well as improvements and stuff within our processes. So to try to make the channel more efficient.
Listen,
So
one of the things, and you touched on it there briefly, is what's coming seems to be around the carbon data, right?
Yeah.
Or talk about that and what's happening.
Yeah, that's actually one of the most exciting things. And quite frankly, trade associations like ourselves aren't necessarily known for being cutting edge, right? We want to be thought leaders, but by the time we get to some of the issues, the train's left the station. We're actually at a point now with the whole carbon footprint situation that we're actually trying to become a thought leader. And that's one of the exciting things that we're doing. And that, one of the things we're seeing is that there's a huge demand by end customers for, carbon footprint by part number, right? They need to know what their impact is. And people are scrambling throughout the industry to come up with this information. So we're actually partnering with a third party who we believe has a really, really solid methodology, which we're in the process of validating, that really gives not only a carbon footprint of the part being made, but its usage, right? So shipping it from the factory, using it, and then actually how it gets disposed. So tracking the carbon impact throughout the life cycle of the product, which is pretty cool. And to do that at the part number level is pretty exciting, right? But it allows customers to be able to take a bill of materials and say, okay, this is my carbon footprint impact as a whole, but then they can look at the individual components on that bill of materials, and if they have a target that they're trying to reach, they can look at the ones that have the biggest impact and see if there's other alternatives to that to lower the footprint, right? That's the name of the game ultimately. So I think right now everybody's trying to scramble to meet certain regulatory requirements, right? They need to be able to report a number. But we're going to get to a point where design engineers can actually say, hey, this is a better choice from an environmental perspective, everything being equal, right? Are we ever going to get to a point where people go, environment's the number one thing? Probably not, right, realistically. But the reality is, if all things are equal, it's great to have the opportunity then to look at your carbon footprint on top of that.
Yeah.
So
is that going to be different regions the way it's rolling out? I always assume Europe is on the cutting edge of these types of things.
Yeah, I mean the demand I think by the customers is probably bigger here in EMEA, but the reality is it has to roll out globally, right? Because everybody feeds into this market. When we're going to offer it through Trusted Parts in the bill of material tool, we're going to roll it out on a control basis. We're not going to publish it full outright yet, but as time goes on, we'll publish it more and more, and we're going to pick the people that care about it the most and have the most impact potentially to be the first ones to be able to take advantage of that tool. So, but it'll be a worldwide thing because that's the demand, right? We're not going to limit it to EMEA or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, since I
Yeah.
rarely get you on camera, is there anything about
They're probably happy about that.
No, you're really good. I mean, you know this intimately, obviously. Anything about Trusted Parts or even the ECIA that is important to share for people to know?
Well, I think again, trusted parts. I mean, I think we've, you know, specifically thinking about the EMS community, the fact that we have bill of material tools, we've really done a lot of things to try to help you do your job, you know, more easily, right? I mean, that's part of what we're trying to do as an industry, or for the industry, to make everybody more efficient. So we're really focused on the EMS community and the purchasing community to try to give them every single tool available within Trusted Parts to make them, you know, basically do everything they need to do really easily. So that's kind of the message, you know. We also have, you know, things for engineers now, like CAD tools and other things like that, models and all that. So we're expanding that, but our primary focus continues to be for the purchasing community and making their life easier, right? And safer, really, if you think about it, because, you know, at the end of the day, staying within the authorized channel, you know, your life is safe. You know, you go outside, you're on your own,
You
right?
assume some risk. Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's not make it the next electronic in 2 years
I hope
before I
not.
get to talk to you again, because I mean, this was very good. I think
Yeah.
it's really educational and worthwhile to
Yeah.
tell people more about it
Right.
and these tools that are available
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
good. Victor,
Sounds
I
good.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.